To begin with the face, I'm going to be using the MAC Face and Body Charged Water Lotion all over her face using a Morphe stippling brush. Then I apply the Professional from Benefit on the centre parts of her face. Then spraying her face with the Smashbox Primer Water. For eyebrows, I'm going to take the Zoeva Brow Line brush and the Morphe Eyebrow Palette, and I'm creating the front of her eyebrows first, so I create a line from underneath her eyebrows and blend it upwards, and then fill in the sparseness in the tail. And once that's done, I'm taking some concealer and a Morphe concealer brush and carving underneath her eyebrows to give it a more crisp look. And I'm also blending that concealer down to her eyelids to conceal the veins and all that, to create a base for the eyeshadow. Taking the Too Faced Chocolate Bar Palette, I'm taking the skin colour and setting the concealer, and then taking the lightest brown shade as a transition colour on her crease. As you can see, I'm blending it slightly upwards and feathering it out because I'm not really worried about the outer corners of her eyes because I'll be cleaning that up later. And then I'm taking a brown, a more warmer brown, just on the outer thirds of her eyes. Then I'll be taking the Australis metallic eyeshadows, and I'm taking the colour Gold Gaga, and I'm applying that with a small brush just on the inner third of her eyes. It's very wet, this stuff, so then I set it with a loose glitter from Eye Candy. It's a really nice gold shade. And as you can see, I'm pressing the glitter into the Australis metallic shadow just so it sets the product. Next for liner, I'm using the Tarte Clay eyeliner and the brush that it came with, and I'm creating the line on her upper lash line, so I get her to close her eyes, and then when I'm creating the wing, I get her to look down on the opposite corner, as you can see, and I create the line and then I connect it. And it's really just a testing, you know, I get her to open her eyes, fill it in, close her eyes, fill it in, until I'm happy with the shape. After the liner was done, I felt like it needed to be a bit more darker, the eyeshadow, so I'm just applying some black eyeshadow. This step is totally skippable if you want. And next I'm cleaning underneath her eyes with all the fallout with some Garnier Micellar water and a little pad. And for her foundation, I'm using the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous foundation, I think that's what it's called. And I'm applying that with a stippling brush as well, and I really love using this brush because even though it's small, it does take its time. You can really work it into the skin and you can get it absolutely everywhere around her face, so around her nose and, you know, around her ears and all that. And this foundation is really nice because it's long lasting, so it's good for your formal or prom or whatever, and it's quite full coverage as well. When you build it up, it builds up really nicely. And it has no flashback when you're taking photos, so that's a plus. going to cream contour using the Laura Mercier contour kit in the shade number 1. I'm mixing the contour color with some Tarte Maracuja oil, just so the contour is really light and it blends out really easily. And then I'm using a sponge just to blend it all out some more. She's already got really nice cheekbones, so I didn't put too much contour on, even though it looks like it. It's not really much. And then I'll be baking underneath her eyes and underneath the contour using the Face of Australia translucent powder. And then setting her contour as well as applying more colour to her face, I'm using the Bobbi Brown bronzer in the colour Golden Light with this really massive fan brush. I'm not really sure what the purpose of it is, but it's really nice for contouring. To line her lower lash line, I'm using the Tarte eyeliner again, and I'm taking that little sponge and I'm dragging it underneath her eyes and filling it in. And I tell her to blink anytime she feels necessary because it's quite uncomfortable. Then I get her to look down and I drag her lid up and I fill it in. Looks a lot scarier than it is. And then I'm applying some eyeshadow underneath her eyes as well, and I'm taking the Warm Neutrals palette from MAC and I'm blending that with a small brush. I think it's from Zoeva, I'm not really sure. And I purposely kept the powder underneath her eyes so that when I wipe it all away, because there's a lot of fallout from that eyeshadow, that it can just all wipe off and then not leave any residue. And I apply a warm shade all underneath her eyebrows, and then just a darker brown just on the outer corner of her eye as well. And next, for her inner corners, I'm taking the Kitten eyeshadow from the Steeler palette. I'm taking an Amazonian clay blush from Tarte. I'm taking the Kitten eyeshadow again and highlighting her face with it, so on her highest points of her cheekbones, Cupid's bow, on the bridge of her nose, and brow bone. Now I'm applying a coat of mascara on her upper lashes and lower lashes.
Let me have one song and I'll change it to your
Yeah, so like you've been playing.
For her lashes, I'm taking the Cara 286 lashes. These are just winged out. They're longer at the corner and thinner in the inner corner. And I'm applying that with the Duo Lash Glue, so I get her to look down. I don't get her to close her eyes, just because the glue can get on her underneath her eyes if I get her to close her eyes. And I apply it. And for her lips, I'm using the Kylie Cosmetics Dolce K lip liner and mixing that with the Snob lipstick from MAC. After the glue is dry, it can sometimes reflect because it's quite shiny, so I'm just coating that with liquid liner again. And to make the lashes pop a bit more, I'm applying a thin coat on top just to make them a bit thicker on the ends. And then using setting spray and setting all that hard work. And that's the finished look. Thank you for watching.